took me when Ozzy Ordelis was in charge. So that was when it was really bad. And fell in love with the place, basically.
Cool. I was I've been in Newcastle over 30 years myself, and absolutely, I was I live in Bristol. I used to live up in Newcastle for quite a long time, and the fact of the matter is, it's just for commitment, so I couldn't come up. Another thing is as well, because basically tickets are hard to get, and when they expanded the stadium back in 2000, I thought I'd get my season ticket, and the atmosphere was great under Bobby Robson, and since then I've seen ticket full time, and I've been to matches from Bristol up to Newcastle as much as I can, and those are the best times of my life being a supporter. But
it's a lot. That's a long travel.
It is, mate. It is, and since then I moved up to Toon, and found it so much easier getting the games because I'm a local, and absolutely amazing, absolutely fantastic. So, and 20 years down the line, unfortunately, it's been absolutely terrible. But we'll come on to that one later on. And so, it's going to talk about first. We'll talk about the takeover. And do you think the takeover is going to happen anytime soon?
It's a difficult one, isn't it? There's obviously, like yourself, I'm on Twitter a lot, follow a lot of people who are pro takeover. It's going to happen. There's people saying it's definitely going to happen. It's bubbling in the background. I've now, after so many failed takeovers and heartbreaks, if it not actually going through, the BZG group who were, looking to take us over, and that fell through, I've kind of sat on the fence now and said, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. But there's no point in, losing spilt milk over it anymore. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, we're in trouble. And I've got a feeling at the moment, if Bruce takes us down, if we're in a really, I believe we're in a relegation fight, and we have been all season, even though we had a good start. I think the takeover will fall because Bruce is going to take her down.
You know what it is, Barry? I'll have to agree with you, man, because the fact of the matter is, I never wanted Steve Bruce there in the first place, and the reason is because when Rafa left, then in my opinion, I thought I actually got him Bruce because just to shut us up. You know what I mean? Because he's a Geordie. He claims to be, but he's a Manchester United fan. So I don't got anyone here. He's a Red. So this is why he got a statement on today, which I'm going to come to later on. So, and the fact of the matter is, I never wanted him. And you're right. He is going to take us down until he gets sacked. And I want him gone at the end of the season after Liverpool, to be honest. You know what I mean? And then after that, they say he's going to stay. And I want him to change things up. I want him to change the attacking football. I want to see him try something different with the tactics, with the players, playing the right positions. But unfortunately, he ain't done that. And it's so frustrating because we as fans deserve better than that. We do.
We do. We massively do. And I got rid of my season ticket when Rafa left. I was in that 10,000 stance saying, enough's enough. The only way we're going to get Ashley out is if it's an empty stadium. And I still believe that. If after lockdown and where fans are allowed back in, if we all took a stance and showed them, we're not going to watch that. We're not going to watch that football. We're not going to support Bruce because he is a plastic Geordie in my eyes. He is a Man United fan. That is the way to get rid of him. And there's no fans in the stadium. That'll send a clear message across all the live cameras that we've had enough.
You know, it is, Barry. I love Italian football, Serie A, as you know. I do the updates and I watch the games, and I go to eat quite a lot. And if we had fans, we have clubs like AC Milan, Lazio, Hellas Verona, right? And there's another club as well, which I believe it might have been Roma. No, Lazio, I said Lazio, didn't I? And they had an empty stadium because fans were absolutely hacked off the way things are. AC Milan for summer, I think it's against Cagliari or home. They had an empty stadium and they had a flag there that said non-basta, right?
Yeah.
That means they ain't coming back, sort of thing. You know what I mean? You had enough. Yeah. You had enough, basically. Yeah. And
I remember reading it.
They changed the ownership, and then the fans came back. Lazio was the same because the president as well wasn't very good, and they just got away. And I hope Newcastle do the same. You just said it there, Baz. You know what I mean? We need an empty stadium. We need to send out a message to Ashley and his cohorts. You know what I mean? We're not going to pull out this crap. You know what I mean? Not going to pull out of it. Enough's enough here. We want our club back. we want our identity back, because at the minute it's more like Sports Direct FC. Do you know what I mean? So it's just a disgrace the way the clubs are. We're just being run like an absolute monkeys by a bunch of monkeys.
It's an advertisement board and for Mike Ashley, isn't it? You look at the stadium, how beautiful it is. If you take those Sports Direct banners down, remember when they took them down for the rugby, and they had that the Super Sixes or whatever it was for the rugby. It looked beautiful again. So James's Park was St James's Park for a few days. Then they put all the boards back up, and it looks like someone's thrown a ball over it, doesn't it?
It's such a shame for that great proud club, because I've got a feeling it's going to sink and sink and sink. I've got a message here. Annie again. Hello, Barry and John. How are you doing? Hope you're fine. He's a regular on my channel, and Liam's also a regular on my channel because I love him. And he said, if it doesn't happen, I'm sticking to La League like before COVID, which is the best decision I've made. Liam, I don't blame you, mate. I mean, at the end of the day, you got the what do you call it? You got the freedom of speech. You got to do what's right for you, and you can make that decision. But you're not the only one, my friend. What do you think of that there?
Well, my partner and her dad are big York City fans. That's where I live now. Unfortunately, she had ball and chain around my ankles and made me move from my love of Newcastle to York. And I've been to a few York City games before they went down, and it's a great club. And there's a lot of lower league clubs out there that do need our support. If we do, if you take a stance like myself, you don't go back to St James's Park, go and watch a lower league local team and help them get the finances in so those players can survive as well and the clubs can survive. I completely agree with that.
Well said. Well said.
But always support Newcastle, though. This is the thing. You know, as much as Ashley is, killing our club, it is our club. And if it's in your heart and it's in your blood, you'll never stop supporting them. You've just got to do it from the couch. Do it in the pub. Don't do it in the ground.
Well said, well said. Because some of the clubs needs the money, especially in this COVID times. And when we allowed to get stadiums, you got to go as much as you can. Just again, hit Ashley in his pockets, sort of thing. If he was to give 30,000 season tickets away, then that's just provocative. But at the end of the day, we don't care. We want the guy out. We want this takeover. But also, I put the blame as well as the Premier League. The Premier League needs to be blamed in that, because Richard Masters could have actually approved the deal. Because Ashley wanted to sell the club, the Saudis wanted to buy the club, there's no problems there whatsoever. What has stopped him? Why? Because the Premier League don't want us to be a big hitter in the Premier League. They look after the top six, the crop league. And my understanding is, and I could be right on this, they're having like arbitration behind the scenes. You know what's going on. But if it takes place, we're going to win that. We're going to win the day, because we cannot let Newcastle United, excuse me, sink lower, because if we get relegated, we are done.
Yeah, we're not coming back up straight away like when Rafa was here, are we? Especially if Bruce is still in charge. I mean, look at what he did with Villa and Sheffield Wednesday, the mid-table teams in the Championship. That's the class that he is. And you are right with the Premier League. There is the prerogative of the Big Six. It's a difficult one, because obviously it's the TV rights, wasn't it? There's a lot of illegal streaming going on, and the guys who wanted to still hopefully want to buy us, hopefully all that's going to be sorted out. It looks like there's talks between Bin Sports and whichever one it is over there. I can't remember which one it is, but the hopefully that'll sort it all out, and then hopefully the takeover can happen. The other thing that if we go down, we won't have to go through the process with the Premier League. So would it be easier for Newcastle to be bought out if they were in the Championship? Because I think if they tried to buy us in the Championship, they could strike a deal to save the lower league clubs as well in the actual League One, League Two Championship. They can pour money into it if they approve the deal. So I don't know if it'd actually be a good thing or a bad thing sometimes.
Do you know what it is? Right? I've heard that as well. I mean, it'd be easier to the Football League to pass it through anyway, because obviously they need the money as well, which I think that's great. And I heard other bits as well. They're saying that they try to be in line with the Premier League, because we cannot let our club sink. It cannot die. Do you know what I mean? Because if Ashley can put the money in the club, he's not going to care about the club. That means the club is just going to be sinking under all the time. We could be heading the administration, because I could see Ashley's going to ask to strip the club. We got 12 players out at the end of the season. Plus, he can make some money out of ASM and Darlow and yourselves, perhaps, And yeah, it's a good point there. I just hope that I don't want to look that far. I don't want to get relegated at all whatsoever. But if Bruce carries on the way he is and he's not sacked by Everton, we will get relegated. This is the thing. And we're a massive club with great potential. You look around the stadium, it's huge. If you go to Europe, if you go around the world, if you mention Newcastle United, you're going to say, wow.
Yeah.
You know,
especially when you look around our stadium, definitely. But our training facilities, League One teams have got better training facilities than we have. So I think we need to, again, there's no money being pumped into it, like you said. And I don't think I'll ever go into administration. I don't think he'll ever allow that to happen, because that'll say Mike Ashley's failed. And Mike Ashley doesn't like to fail, even though he does. But in his mind, he doesn't, because he does it his way. And he's always done it that way, hasn't he? Especially when he buys these shops. He always, I mean, people will probably slate me for this, but he is a great businessman, because he wouldn't be where he is if he wasn't. You know, he built Sports Direct, then he bought all those other shops, got them out of administration, started making a profit with them. And that's all he cares about, profit.
That's all he cares about. And he's happy he's finishing 17th place every season. That's the 17th place. It's his trophy at the end of the season. Not my trophy, not your trophy. We want to aim higher, sort of thing. But great businessman, that's a failure when it comes to football, and he is going to be always that. And I think he kind of knows that. He's probably admit that as well. And Annie wants to come on our show. Annie, you will do one day. Don't worry about that. I haven't forgotten about you, sort of. And it could be next week or two, but I'll try to get you on next week, and we can have a chat about all things in Newcastle. So, and I'll put you booked up as well over the weekend. So I've got to do a watch along as well, and I'm trying to get someone to come and watch along on Saturday to help us boost me followers as well. So yeah, so you're right. So
I would have done that with you, but unfortunately, I took another stance against Sky Sports and I cancelled my Sky Sports subscription. So if I did watch it with you, I'll be 2 minutes behind you.
You know what? Yeah, you know what's going on? He goals me. Go on, he goals me. Click on that, and then come watch along, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, if you want me on there, I'll spare 90 minutes of pain with you for on Saturday.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, not getting anything. Yeah, I've got a lot of video at the minute, so yeah, it'd be cool. Yeah, we definitely sort things out, my friend. You know what I mean? Cool. And we're going to talk about Steve Bruce, and
do we have to?
Yeah, and listen, I mean, we know he's a failure at Newcastle. We looked at watch his press conference today, and I don't know if you watched it. And basically, he was asked about Rafa Benitez. I don't know if, and he said that.
I've got the quote if you want it. What do you gauge as success? I gauge success last year as matching Rafa's tally of points. He was a world-class manager. Where did he finish? 10th, 13th. Is that success? We matched mighty Rafa. Can you believe it?
I think for me, he's taking a dig at the fans. He's taking a dig at Rafa as well for my case. I mean, he needs to get his mouth shut, because at the minute, he's doing no fear for himself or whatsoever. What he should be doing, he should be getting our team and start winning football matches. If he cannot do that, he should go. Do you know what I mean?
I completely agree. But
at the end of the day, walking off there, and he'll be back.
I'm just making the milk for the little one. I've got my earphones in, don't worry.
Listen, right? I mean, we won't keep you too long anyway, so I'll let you go and play.
All I've got to do is take the milk upstairs for the little Ben. It's his bedtime, you see. So, so I might disappear, but I'm still listening. I'm still here. I'm still talking. Don't worry.
I mean, I've got my tea, but I'm not going to get my tea till I finish there, man. But no, Ben comes first, my friend, every single time in your family.
He's only 2, so it's his bedtime now. So he needs his milk for when he goes to bed. But I'll tell you, that's one thing of how sad this situation's got for me. He's not got one little bit of merchandise yet, and he's 2. Now, when I was younger, I was black and white through and through, shirts, strips, full lot. I'm not putting him through that yet. And I think it's a sad situation I'm in, because I mean, I'm dad for the first time. He's my only son, and I've not bought him one Newcastle bit of kit, which I think's kind of terrible. But I don't want to put him through it.
I don't blame you, because at the end of the day, they're losing younger generations of fans, and if you lose younger generations of the fans, unfortunately, it's not going to be any good.
It's not, and
they're going to support someone else, like Man U's and Liverpool's and the London clubs as well.
That definitely will not happen. He'll be a York City fan if he's not going to be a Newcastle fan. So
fair enough.
I've always been that kind of, if you were born in the city, you should support it. So unless you've got relatives who support the club and it's passed down to you, or you fall in love with the club because you've watched them since you were a little boy. So you'll either be a Newcastle fan or you'll be a York City fan, because his granddad's a huge York City fan. And he loves his granddad, so I'm struggling to win him over.
Wow. I tell you what, though, you do, that'd be fantastic. Do you know what I mean? But did you have Steve Watson as manager of York City? You did, didn't you?
He is. No, he's still there.
He's still there, isn't he?
Yeah, he's doing really well. Sort of.
All right. Where's he there at the minute? What league's he at in the minute?
It's the National League North they're in.
Oh, champion. And on where are you in the table?
I think the second or third. I can't quite remember. They had a bad result at the weekend, but I don't keep up to date with it as much as my partner does. You know, she's the York City fan in the family. So, but like I said, I've even said on Twitter, I'd take Steve Watson as our manager any day of the week.
Fantastic. Maybe one day manage Newcastle United, but he's got to do it through the leagues first before he does that. You know what I mean? But maybe assistant manager, maybe as a coach, and you never know.
He's a Geordie through and through, isn't he? So
and it's nice to see all Geordies managing in our club, which is great. So I've got some messages here from Liam. Atmosphere lower league clubs are better than the Premier League sides or Premier League clubs. Yeah, I can see where he's come from. Thomas said, hi Thomas, how are you? Hope you're okay. And Liam again, the lower leagues I watch Leighton Orient as me mates are Leighton Orient fans.
That's fair enough.
Good. I mean, it's good to see him back in the Football League because they're one of the historic clubs. And when he went relegated into conference, it wasn't great. And it's good to see him back again. So, I mean, can you see Steve Bruce lasting the season?
Unfortunately, yes. Because I don't think Mike Ashley wants to see him as a failure. He's brought him in and he's cheap. He doesn't want to pay the compensation to get rid of him. I don't know if you've seen what's happening on Twitter, but they're talking about bringing in Ed Howe's number 2. Apparently, he's a Geordie. So he's trying to win the fans over again by bringing another Geordie in, thinking that's going to shut up. And it's not going to work. I mean, the only thing I can see as a positive from that is that maybe if Bruce doesn't get a result in the next 2 games, because we've got Villa and we've got Leeds on Tuesday night, if we don't get a result, he's got his number 2 in place. Eddie Howe can just slip in. Now, I like Eddie Howe, but he did take Bournemouth down. So is he the right man or is he not? We don't know. But I would really like us to take a risk and go for Thomas Frank of Brentford. I've been saying this for 18 months. He should be given a chance. He plays great football, and I think he would do well with our squad.
Do you know what it is, right? I mean, you'd be in the top 3 for taking over Newcastle United. Definitely, no question about that. I mean, it'd be fantastic. He plays good football, like you said. He plays 4-3-3. He's got an identity. And it's free-flowing, and the fans want to see that, But after that's a good choice. I mean, Eddie Howe, Thomas Frank, and Nigel Pearson for me. So
Nigel Pearson's a good one, especially if the takeover does happen. Because at the end of the season, I mean, you could just bring Pearson in for half a season. I think Pearson would do that. Where I don't think Eddie Howe would or Thomas Frank would. They would want a long-term contract, at least 3 to 5 years, to build something. But I think Pearson would be happy to take us to the end of the season. The takeover happens. They bring their own man in. See how it goes.
See how it goes indeed. And I've got Liam as well. If you go down, it can go down 2 ways. Either be another Forest or do a Sunderland. And if Ashley's there and we have to play us and it just won't come to us, that could be a real possibility. You know what I mean? And we could be in the Championship for years and years to come, as long as Ashley's there. And he's got a decision to make. And Oli took Cardiff down. Look who he is now.
Yeah, Liam's made a good point there. But Man United have obviously got a hell of a lot better players than we have in the bigger squad. They're able to bring in the likes of Cavani, who's hit the ground running for Man United in my eyes. He's got Pogba backfiring, who's a World Cup winner. You look at our squad, we don't have those kind of players. So, but Oli is doing a good job. I work with a lot of Man United fans, unfortunately, and they're all getting boyish again, and they're all coming out of the woodwork. So I've got to put up with that at work now.
And it's just ridiculous, man. Absolutely ridiculous. And the thing is as well, I mean, we're never going to get those players again. And not only that, Baz, the fact of the matter is, I mean, when you think about it, we had leaders. We had Nolan, Barton, Harper, right? We had true leaders in the team. And if you look at the squad now, right, who are the leaders? Because I can't think of any leaders at the club. I cannot.
Well, there's only the cells, isn't there, really? And has he had a run-in with Bruce or not? We don't know. That's obviously a big rumour, saying that he's went to him and said, don't like the style of play. They want to, be more expensive. They want to be more, they want tactics, basically. And he got dropped, didn't he? Or he had COVID, which is a good excuse, isn't it? I mean, this ASM thing with COVID, if you've got COVID, you can't leave the country. He went back to France. So you're telling me he had COVID? Come on.
Someone's lying. I mean, the thing is, right, Newcastle, it's okay for them to lie to the fans, but when you get presses, have a go at them, like Craig Holt, for example, took on Steve Bruce, they can ban them. So what they're doing now, they're controlling everyone from the fans to the press. They're manipulated so gets. I'm telling you.
Well, I mean, look what he did with Chris Hughton. That was sacrilege for me. You should never have sacked him. We beat Arsenal 1-0. You beat Sunderland 5-1. You got rid of him. You brought Pardew in, which, don't get me wrong, he did a good job. But you can't argue with that. I mean, he finished fifth, didn't he? Fifth or sixth in that season. And again, you mentioned the leaders that you had in that team. And then again, Mike Ashley struck, didn't he? Because Nolan, Barton, all those leaders we were talking about, they had the dispute with the bonus. And then look what happened to them. They were shipped out of the club, weren't they? And then we were left with people who were yes men again. So this is what Ashley does.
Yes man is yes man for the manager, yes man for the players, and we still got them now, which is a shame because that club is like you going to Russia sort of thing. It's like a communist club, and that's what we are under Ashley. Do you know what I mean? And I spoke to Claire Williams last night. She's a Man U fan, and I'll tell you what, she's absolutely amazing. I call her the Queen of Retford because she's absolutely lovely. I followed, right? And she was talking about Newcastle as well, and I have to tell her sort of thing that we're absolutely poor in a minute, and we could be in trouble. And the way she went on about Jolene, I thought, wow, she is absolutely she's a red. Do you know what I mean? But it is what it is. Guys, if you like and subscribe to my channel, I've got 257 subscribers. Please like and share. And with Liam as well and Steve Bruce was the Sunderland manager in a 5-1 win against them. And
that was one of the funniest things I saw on Twitter. Someone said that was Steve Bruce's best performance at St James's Park.
Yeah. Woo! I love it, man.
That's the one thing about Steve Bruce when he was at Sunderland. He never beat Newcastle.
Nah. But the thing is, though, we play Sunderland now, they'll probably beat us again under him.
Well, that's what happened. Bruce left and we lost 6 in a row, didn't we?
We did. We should stay at Sunderland, man. But at least they were quick. They were quick to sack him, you know what I mean? I like this. Flimming Wolf decided not to back him until... the thing is, with Ashley sort of thing, he hasn't got football in Brian. He hasn't learned this lesson since McLaren. He started with us too late, right? And I can see him doing exactly the same thing again. And the fact of the matter is, he's a chancer. If he wants this £350 million for the club, he's got to start Bruce now. But I've got a feeling that PIF, PCP partners will tell him and say, hang on a minute, look, listen, right? What's going on? If you get relegated, they will not touch that club. They won't. So Ashley's got a decision to make. He has to. And at the minute, Steve Bruce is getting away with murder at the minute. Do you know what I mean? And talking of Bruce, I just think it's arrogant, two-faced in the press as well. And today, right, I mean, there's another piece as well that he said that, told to our fans in the press, he said that we only finished once in the top 10 of the last 15 years. Can I correct him on that, please? Right?
Oh, yes.
Ashley Glenn got top 10. Alan Pollard got us top 10 twice. And Rafa Benitez got us top 10 when he got us born from the championship, yeah? So Steve Bruce is deluded. Somebody press conference reaction, I've done that earlier on. He's deluded. I think he's a liar. And he hasn't done his research properly, yeah? So you should just belt up. If you don't know now, say no.
Yeah, there was another thing he said in a press conference. He was talking about when Newcastle last won a trophy, and he quoted a year, and it was when Sunderland won the trophy. So, you know what I mean? He can't even get his facts right, can he? He needs
to keep his mouth shut because at the end of the day, I think he's, to me, people say that he's a nice lad. He's a good lad to probably go out for a drink with. But at the end of the day, like, I mean, he needs the honourable thing and just walk away because Villa will take us apart tomorrow. I mean, Dean Smith's press conference today was kind of refreshing. I know that's a fact, and he's good with the press as well. And but they're going to miss John McGinn tomorrow because he's banned. And also, Smith is going to be out. He's going to be out of the game as well. He's got sent off, didn't he? So he won't be on the touchline. So, you know what it is? But then again, I don't really make any difference anyway, to be quite honest.
I don't think it will. You'll coach the team right all the way up this week. The only thing that may go in our favour is that obviously they had the COVID situation. The players might not be potentially as fit and as game ready as what we should be. We used it as an excuse, didn't we? So Villa can use it as an excuse. But if Grealish is on form, we've got no one who can touch him because Hayden's still suspended.
No, Hayden's back.
Hayden might be able to whack Grealish then.
He's back.
Good. But, he might be able to whack Grealish then and keep him quiet, but he'll be off at the end of the season. I think he'll go to Man United or Man City or someone like that because he is top rate now. He just needs to sort his off the pitch problems, doesn't he? And then he will be a top player and a regular for England.
I totally agree. I mean, for me, I said in my press conference reaction, I think for me he's the best young player in the country. Do you know what I mean? Because he's got trickery, he's got skill, he can dribble. But only critique about him, he does dive, he does cheat a lot, and he needs to cut out.
One of the things when we were in the first lockdown, when it was lovely in the back garden, I had my little one playing with the ball, and because he was so small, he was falling over it, and every time he fell over, he's done a Grealish.
Yeah. But he's at the wrong sport. Like, listen, I mean, I just got to call it Grealish FC because there's also Random Jack. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, but you're right, but bless. But I don't blame, like I said, I don't believe you taking your daughter to the match sort of thing, to take him to York City, if anything, like, But I mean, who's I mean, I heard also hearing that Maximan's coming back tomorrow, but
I heard he's in the squad.
Yeah, you won't play, so you won't start though. But I don't understand why they're rushing him back. I don't think he's going to be fit anyway. Steve Bruce is quite desperate now because he wants this guy back in ASAP. Ronaldo's a good player, but at the end of the day, he ain't going to be match fit. And I don't get it. I just play 4-2-3-1. You have to play Murphy on the right-hand side, Fierce on the left-hand side, Wilson up top, and play Matty and here in the central role. We need a creative midfielder. That's what we need. Because John Joe Shelby, I've listened to Malcolm McDonald earlier, so from NESC Matters, and he said that he's a frustrated player, he's a lazy player. Listen, he got everything about the guy, but he's selfish and he goes missing. And I think for me, John Shelby's done. I think he's finished for me. I mean,
it's such a shame because when we were in the Championship in our first year back in the Premiership, I used to go to St James's Park and I would just watch John Joe Shelby. I used to watch him the way he played. He played football like he was playing NFL as a quarterback. The way he used to find space and he used to be able to get our defence from the edge of our box all the way up to the halfway line. And then when he wanted to, he could hit that 40, 50-yard ball and just ping it. And that for me was what got me to St James's Park, was watching those kind of passes and the way he used to do that. And I think he still has it in him. I just don't think he's been given the freedom to be able to do it under Bruce. And he's got no runners. When we first came up, we didn't have the greatest strike force in the world, but we had Dwight Gale, who was fast, and he used to use his pace to get him in behind the defence and get us up the pitch. We should have that with Wilson, but it just doesn't seem to be working. And it's very, very frustrating because you are right, tactics, well, it does Steve Bruce do tactics, as he said. With the team selection and with ASM, he needs him back, doesn't he? He's the only one who's that bright spark. But Rafa never had him. And Rafa used to use, for me, I think he's been underused this year, is Matt Ritchie. I know he's had some poor games. But you said about leaders. Matt Ritchie was a leader. And we need him on that pitch.
He is a leader, but for me, it's my opinion, I think it should be his last season. And we need someone fresh. But he's on a 3-year deal. I like Shelby as well. And I think when it's like both on a 3-year deal, I thought, wow, do you know what I mean? But back to Shelby, that pass against West Ham to Janmaat a couple of seasons ago for Ronaldo, that pass was a path of the season for me. And we're not seen enough of that. He hasn't done enough. It doesn't show it enough. And it's just so really frustrating because he can do it. But like you said, he had that chance on the boost. Could be under a different manager. So if we probably see the best John Joe Shelby, do you know what I mean? But it's so frustrating. And
It
for
is.
me,
I think Charlie's a broken man playing in that centre in the field at the moment, and when he looks up, there's no one to hit, and
this is the
that's
problem.
the frustrating part of it.
No one to run. No one to run. But
Yeah.
you're right. And it got Liam as well. Steve Bruce would get Liverpool relegated. Yes, he would.
He probably would.
He would.
All that talent Liverpool have got with no tactics. I mean, look at how bad they are at the moment, Liverpool. Lost the first game, 46 years for Burnley to win at Anfield, 46 years. First defeat at Anfield for 4 years. It's they haven't scored is it 3-0 nils? 1-0 defeat now or something like that. It's crazy what's happened to them.
I know. You look at the strike force they've got. Salah, Mane, Firmino, and Jota. If they missed Jota, he's out injured in a minute. They missed him badly. They missed him badly because he offers something different and scores some goals, important goals as well. But are they going to win the title? I've said from the beginning, I think Man U win the league. I've said that from day one.
Have you? See, I said to a lad, we've got a bet of 2 pints on that Man United wouldn't finish in the top 4, so I'm looking very silly at the moment.
At the minute, I could have lost some money on them as well, man. Put a tell on to win the league. I would have got good odds for them, mind. But they played really well, to be fair. You said it yourself earlier, Cavani's playing well, Bruno's playing well. Absolutely amazing. And, but like you said Burnley there, they're level on points of us at the minute. And we have a look at the teams we've got to play. We've got to play Burnley away, Fulham away, Brighton away, West Brom away. The teams below us, we all got to go away, right?
Yeah, which is difficult.
Let's be real about it. If we release all those games on the boost, we could be done.
Oh, we will. I mean, I'm looking at the next 10 fixtures, and I'm looking about where we might get some points. I mean, obviously, we've got Villa away, Leeds at home, Everton away, Palace at home, Southampton at home. If we're lucky, I mean, Leeds thrashed us far too, and I work with a lot of Leeds fans as well. That was horrendous. I couldn't walk into work. I had to keep my head down. It was terrible. And then we've got Everton away. I know obviously we had that miracle comeback last season with the 2-2 and dinosaur arms in goal. He couldn't stop Lejeune from scoring 2, but we're not going to get a point at Everton. Palace at home, but potential point maybe a win if we're lucky. Depends if Zaha and Eze are on form. We've got Chelsea away, Man United away. It's 2 heavy defeats. Wolves at home. I mean, they're struggling a bit, so you never know, might get a point. And then you've got West Brom away and then Villa at home. I wouldn't like to see us get anything against Allardyce. So in the next 10 games, we might be lucky if we get 6 points.
That ain't going to be enough. We'll be bottom 3 by the time. We'll be bottom 3 because the players do not want to play for boosts. We can see that. They don't want to play for boosts. And it's evident, he's lost the dressing room. I don't care what anyone say. He's lost the dressing room, and he's lost control of the players. Because when he said the press conference last week, he said to us that he's going to do things his way, right? So that tells me that he had no control over those players. Do you know what I mean? And Ashley can't make a decision on him. He doesn't care. And Lee Charnley, he should know better as well because he's in charge. Well, Ashley is not around. Where is he, man?
Lee Charnley? Who is he? We never see him.
I think he's on furlough at the minute. If I'm honest, he is in that. He's on furlough.
That's a good. I like that one. Yeah, he's missing an action, isn't he? He's I mean, he's meant to be a fan as well, isn't he?
Oh no, that's ridiculous.
There's a lot, isn't there? He's willing to work for Ashley and not have the balls to say to him, I've made a mistake. We identified Bruce as the man to take us over, to take us to safety. He's now not. Yes, he did it in the first season. Fair enough. He's not doing it now. We need to get rid. We need to get some fresh blood in with fresh ideas. And I just don't see Lee Charnley being able to have the balls to be able to have that conversation with Ashley. I think he's a kind of man I'll hand under his desk and wait until it's too late.
The thing is, though, with Charlie, I think he's a coward. He's an absolute coward. I've heard few people, it's been seen, the people that knows him, that he's very arrogant.
Yeah, well, that doesn't surprise me.
That's what I was told. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what I was told. So, got Liam again before the start of the season. He said Man City to win their league.
They've got a good chance. Got a game in hand. If they win it, they'll be ahead.
They'll be ahead, They've got Boost again. Would you tell about Chinese League 2? you wouldn't. They probably turn into sweet and sour chicken before you get that start. You know what I mean? And Bruce would do.
Yeah, we won't repeat what he said there, will we?
I know. He's right. I can't stand me channel. I mean, I can't stand me channel. You know what I mean? But would I wouldn't be. I talk anyway if I can help it. But I was saying this as well. But Bruce, I think the guy's an absolute failure. Absolute failure. And then we got Jay. Jay, how you doing, my guy? You good? And he said, John Liam, Bruce Collins.
Got my name
exactly anyway, but he's got a name on. But listen, it's just one of those things, man. And the fact of the matter, we just, man. But those comments today from Bruce gets to us again. Insulting Rafa, digging at fans, gets us record song. Oh my God, not good enough, man. But the fact of the matter is,
great stats. I don't know if you've seen these yourself. Obviously, I follow a lot of people on Twitter like yourself. And in 132 league games as Newcastle manager, Rafa Benitez side lost by 3 clear goals on 4 occasions. In 56 league games as Newcastle manager, Bruce's side has lost by 3 clear goals 9 times. So that's double the amount. And that, to me, when you're in a relegation fight, the one thing that Rafa was very, very good at was keeping the balance of, positive goals and goals against, because that is an extra point when you're down at the bottom. Because you can go down on goal difference, can't you? So Rafa was very, very good at doing that. And if you can keep games tight, you might nick it.
Very clever. Very clever. And he knew exactly what he's doing. The fans actually responding to him. And they know their job. They know the rules about it. They know exactly what they have to do. And focus, discipline. And that's what we got. These players now are uncoachable, right? Because Bruce ain't doing it right. Do you know what I mean? You look at players like Jamal Lewis or Emil Kraft. I'm going to come Emil Kraft, not Emil Kraft.
He can't cross the ball to save his life, can he?
I know. And when they signed them up for £6 million, all the Twitter media, all the social media turn at us and say, excuse me, he's the Swedish Cafu, right? I'm sorry, but I watched this guy who's played Bologna. He's an average man, It's a joke. Oh my God. Please no. And there's a reason why Amiens, who we bought, told him they must be laughing away to the French banks. You know what I mean? That money could have gone towards the part of the stand.
Yeah. But again, with Jamal Lewis, Liverpool wanted him, but they were put off by the price tag. Now, we paid the price tag and got him. Has he regressed because he's been working under Bruce? I mean, you've got to have a good coach to bring on these young players, and I don't think Bruce has got it in them.
I agree with you. I mean, listen, I've tried to support Jamal Lewis. I've tried to support the guy. Do you know what I mean? But at the minute, I'm only saying at the minute, I think he's out of his depth. I mean, that's not his fault. It's down to the culture of Bruce. He's telling Jamal Lewis to steer back and don't go forward. Do you know what I mean? But I think his defensive awareness at the moment is poor. Absolutely poor. If you watch the Arsenal game, he looked a bit lost. And some of the times of the game, where I watched him, his confidence is shot to bits. And now the one thing I know, if you can see the goal, not one of the players go to the place and say, "How man? Come on, head up. We can come at this." Not one of them has cheered the guys up. You know what I mean? They just walk away, saying out, you got a bond. You have to bond as teammates. There's no bond there at all.
I'll tell you the other thing with Jamal Lewis is that he doesn't seem to have someone in front of him who will help him out. And that's why I would like Matt Ritchie in the team, because Matt Ritchie is a workhorse. He'll go backwards and forwards for 90 minutes. And I think he would be the right foil for Lewis, to let Lewis go on, because he's younger, he's fitter, he's faster. He can get back as well. And if he had Ritchie sitting in front of him, it might just give him a bit more confidence. But again, tactics, Bruce doesn't do them.
No, he doesn't really. And that's why he's finished. That's why he's finished at the club, you know what I mean? But I got Liam here. As the media loves Steve Bruce, as the media loves Steve Bruce, if he's that good, why wouldn't any other Premier League team wanted him? Well, Chelsea could sack Frankie Lampard at a minute. And then are they gonna put his name on the short list? Definitely not.
Yeah. I've been saying that all season.
These media are bigging them up, like Sutton, right? Savage, Lawrenson, Genius, right? All them bigging them up, right? They're all quiet now, are they? They're all quiet. Do you know what I mean? He out front them, and even on Talk Sport, there's people like Jamie O'Hara still supporting them, man.
Well, if there's a lot of good people on Twitter again, they do a lot of digging. A lot of these people who were praising Bruce and saying he's doing a good job and blah blah blah, they all have the same agent, so they're helping to keep him in a job basically because the agent's going to get paid, isn't he? But again, I mean, what Liam said is, I've been saying this all season to all these guys like, you know, Gary Neville, Carragher, you know, why aren't they bigging up Steve Bruce to get a bigger job? Why is he never been offered a bigger job? Why is the biggest job he's ever had at Sunderland? Because that, to him, that was his biggest job and his most successful time. Yeah, he got Hull to an FA Cup final, but they got thrashed. You know, he's got us to a couple of semi-finals, but we played championship standard teams and lower. You know, if he's that good, why isn't Steve Bruce ahead of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Man United? I mean, according to a lot of my friends at work, Steve Bruce is a Man United legend. He's the first person to ever lift the Premier League trophy. Why weren't Man United knocking the door down for Steve Bruce?
I think for two reasons. Here, he's not good enough. He keeps getting himself relegated with teams. And secondly, he's not loyal. Yeah, and he's not loyal. He's not a loyal manager.
Well, again, I've made a career of never giving up, so I wouldn't. I'll keep trying into my utmost and make us better. Then again, quit Sheffield United in 2019, quit Huddersfield in 2000, quit Palace in 2001, quit Birmingham in 2007, quit Wigan in 2009, quit Hull in 2016, and then quit Sheffield Wednesday in 2019 to come to Newcastle. You're telling me he's not a quitter?
What an absolute muppet. He's an absolute muppet. I mean, this guy is so contradictory, you know what I mean? Yeah. That's why I just don't like him. I mean, he's a good gentleman. I just don't like at my club. And you're right, that's a very good state, you know what I mean? Because I was going to do that, but he beat us to the punch. But he's lying. He's lying to everyone. He is lying to everyone, do you know what I mean? But that's a fair point there, man. Fair point.
But this is the thing, is that Steve Bruce, and I think a lot of people forget, we're not stupid. We're fans of our football club. We do research. We look into things. Social media now is so big, you cannot get away with saying rubbish like this because we can dig out archives of results. And, you know, I've looked at Steve Bruce's CV. The most impressive thing on it is that he managed Sunderland for so many years and that he took Hull to an FA Cup final. Then you look at Rafa's CV, won La Liga twice, won the Champions League. You know, it's crazy. People say Bruce is good.
He won the Super Cup and the Italian League in Napoli as well. Yeah, so
exactly.
He's done everything, like, you know. But what can you do? But Rafa's a legend anyway. Got Jay again, just on Steve Rios' channel. No one expecting us to win.
Yeah, Lewis, I agree.
I agree. Lewis won bad at Norwich in an awful Norwich team who's one of the better players. What has happened to Jeff Williams? Now, apparently, he's on a fee in the summer, but they will try to get rid of him in January. But we're still after him. We just don't know. We haven't heard out.
No, this is the other thing with it. It's just so frustrating. I've also heard that Dwight Gale's in talk to go to West Brom before the January window shuts, because if he sees out the end of the season, he goes on a free, and we don't want to let him go on a free. So again, if he goes, you know, what's our options? Andy Carroll and Wilson.
Personally, I would not sell Dwight Gale to West Brom, because can you imagine selling to West Brom and he's got to win a goal against them and should get us relegated? You do not sell any player or you key player to a relegation rival. You just don't, because it's like Spurs selling Harry Kane to Man United and he scores a winning goal to win them the league. Can't do that. Yeah. But I mean,
unless you've got a backup plan. If we've got another striker coming in, fair enough. But you know what Ashley's like. There'll be no backup plan. He's just thinking cash in on a player that's going to be leaving for free.
All the time. All the time. He doesn't care. This is why this owner is an arrogant. To me, I'm not going to call him Mike Ash. I'm going to call him Mike Churchill, because at the end of the day, it's like Winston Churchill, because he just put two things up at this. So who cares? He doesn't care. He doesn't care about us. He doesn't care about the fans. Why should we care about him? But
I call him Cashley.
Yeah, Cashley or D. Cashley. I've got some more comments here. What has happened with Jeff? We know that Jeff was still at.
We hope we're going to sign him, but if we go down, then we're never going to see him again, are we?
Exactly. Then we've got Thomas as well. What do you think about Hendrick, your second scorer? Let's put it
disgraceful.
It is. I mean, come on.
You've got to laugh or you'll cry.
I know. What does this guy bring to the table? What does he actually offer? What does he do? I mean, come on. I mean, Bruce plays on the right side of midfield. He's no winger. I've never ever seen Jeff Hendricks play on the right side of midfield on the Burnley.
Well, apparently he did. Apparently, well, I mean, the Burnley used to have certain tactics, though, didn't they? Where there was more of a outside right sort of centre midfield. And the reason why he left Burnley is because he wanted to play in centre midfield. And obviously, he's had a discussion with Bruce, and Bruce has probably promised him that, and he's not because he's played him on the wing. And for me, he's one of the one players that's offered, apart from scoring 2 goals somehow, he's offered nothing. He wanders around like a schoolboy on that pitch at times. He just looks lost. You talk about Jamal Lewis being lost, he's just as bad.
I totally agree, man. It's just crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. It's like playing with 10 men. It's like playing with 9 men as well. Not good. I've got to come to Jordan Linton later on, so I'll pass it. That's Hendricks there. Liam again. He's got a couple of messages anyway. He's got 3. Yeah. It took a shooter to beat Newport, and it took 2 replayers to beat Rochdale, who fight relegation, and Oxford. That's under Bruce, by the way. That's their manager, not my manager. Hull was 2 goals up against in the cup final, and got Hull relegated like he did at Birmingham.
Yeah, we got Arsenal, wasn't it? 4-2 in the end.
3-2.
Oh, 3-2 was that? What was 4-2? I was at a christening that day. I was very drunk.
Yeah. Look, oh man, he messed that up, didn't he? Can you imagine him being 2 goals up against Arsenal in the FA Cup and we didn't win the game? Oh man, he would have absolutely slated that day, especially his tactics. You know what I mean? You got absolutely slated. But I just want to talk about Joe Linton as well. I mean, I spoke to Claire, Man U fan, and we had a good discussion about him yesterday, and she thinks he's a waste of time and he's not good enough. £40 million it cost us, right? And that's the reason why Rafa didn't want him.
Yeah.
Ashley paid the money, out of his own money, £40 million, right? And he scored, 3 goals in 56 games. 3 goals in 56 league games, right?
That's horrible.
£40 million off your English money. For me, I'd just give him away. Give him away. Because just write your losses, go. Because I've got a lot of stick a couple of weeks ago, right, about me how it costed like Joe Linton, right? I'll do my player ratings. I gave him a 0 out of 10 because it's been poor. And I got absolutely lynched for that. And I just said, I would like it in. You know what I mean? But some of our fans, man, are so deluded, right? They want to big up bang average players, yeah? People need to start being real because this player ain't good enough, you know? Because players like him, he's going to get us relegated.
But again, has he been bruised? Because if you look at his form at Hoffenheim when he was there in the German league and you look at the way the manager looked after him, he looked a good player. Not 40 million, don't get me wrong, paid over the odds for him, and we should never have done that. And Rafa saw he wouldn't be good enough for the Premier League. But I still feel sorry for him in a way because he's got Bruce as a manager and he doesn't know what to do with him. But I just wouldn't play him.
I don't know, Subas couldn't control him at all. He just cannot control top players. And, well, Jonah's not a top player. I just think he's poor. I only judged him so far until I see something different. But for me, I just think it's a waste of money and a waste of shirt, to be honest with you. I can understand. But Julian Nagelsmann made him a good player. Comes to Newcastle. You cannot speak the language. You still cannot speak the language, or by all accounts. I might be wrong on that. But at the end of the day, I'm not being funny, but he would not get into the Blythe Butcher squad whatsoever. And after then Blythe Butcher put out the deal with Newcastle for Joe Linton. Save your money. Save your money. Give it to your wife and kids. That's what I see at them. And do what West Ham did with Haller. Cut your losses. Sell him.
Cut losses, yeah.
I mean, what you can. Just what you got to make you cannot make a profit on this player. You cannot because he is not good enough. For me, he is the worst player, the worst striker in my lifetime for Newcastle. I did my 5 worst players the other day, and he was top of the shots, him. And I was going to put Michael Owen. I'll chop him down in a second. Joe Linton, top of the list, and he's a waste of time. And Liam Gaines says leagues like the Bundesliga, Liga, and La Liga ain't like the Premier League. It's rough and tumble.
I totally agree with him there. And if you look at our old centre forward that we sold to the Spanish league, he started banging goals in, didn't he? So
really
It just
does.
shows you there's horses for courses, isn't there? He is right. Yeah, Riviere, again, Liam's pointed out there, it looked absolutely brilliant in pre-season, didn't he, when we first signed him? We thought, oh, we've got a player on our hands, and they scored 1 goal.
On goal in the whole season. And the fact that he's right in the first as well. I'm not being funny, but Riviere plays for an Italian club called Cotone, and he signed for them on a 2-year deal. And I mean, he's still not doing it in a minute, like, you know, but he played in Serie B last season with Cosenza.
Yeah.
And he got 10, 12 goals in that season, and he still can't speak Italian. Like, he's trying, but I don't think he can. But talking of Riviere, I don't know if you watched the game against West Ham. He missed 2 open goals, didn't he? Could you imagine those 2 missed open goals could have got us relegated?
Yeah. I can't talk about him because we'll just get to the end. Whatever we say at the end of the day, he's not good enough. He does offer a little bit every now and again, a small little glimpse of something, but his touch is like an elephant, isn't it?
He's not the only one so strong, isn't he? You know what I mean? He's terrible, man. He's a shocking player, him. And one goal against QPR team, that was deflected, by the way. One goal against QPR.
Yeah, it was, I remember.
That was already relegated, and they still beat us by 2 goals to 1. And that was the day where we should have gone down, because if Hull would have won that game, I'm not sure he was in the bottom 3. I don't think he was in the bottom 3. He was 17th, but we had to finish 4th in the end, you know what I mean? And Ashley celebrated like nobody's mad. But you know what? I said to myself, don't put us in that position ever again, because the following season, we got relegated. Yeah.
It just shows you it's happening again, isn't it?
Ashley never learns his lesson. And he come out and said he's going to spend £80 million. 80 million is great with the wrong manager. 80 million quid would have done a Rafa. When he was at Napoli in his first season, he spent £72 million on Koulibaly for £5 million, Dries Mertens. He bought Higuain, Jorginho. He bought Raul Abdial as well, and Gulam as well. He's bought some great players, £72 million out of those 600 players. He was got rain on the season on loan at the time. And he's done good things at Napoli. He did brilliant things at Napoli, do you know what I mean? Good. But at the end of the day, we should have had Rafa when he got sat around Madrid, sat McLaren, and bring Rafa straight away. We would not have gone down, never.
No, if you give him a bit more time. I mean, you looked at his record, Rafa's record before we went down. I think he only lose 1 game. I think it was 1 game he lost, and we nearly stayed up, but we didn't. But that's history, isn't it? We enjoyed the championship. We had a great year, didn't we?
Absolutely gutted, man. Absolutely gutted. But he gave us hope in the championship. He gave us hope, but Ashley's got to realise now. He has to understand. You've got to sack the manager now. If we lose tomorrow, sack him on Sunday. Sack him tonight. Sack him the next night, you know. And then we've got plenty of games to get out of the mess. Get a Nigel Pearson. He'll turn that team around. You know, Eddie Howe would do fantastic as well. But I don't think someone will move north. But if you get Eddie Howe in, he'll change everything. He wants a project that he wants to be back to pop. Do you know what I mean? But got Liam there. Liam, wasn't it Hull, Reading, and QPR got relegated? Yeah, they did, actually. You're right.
I think it was. That was the City won it, wasn't it, with an Aguero goal? Is that right?
Yes.
When Queen's Park Rangers went down? Yeah. Because Queen's Park Rangers 2-0, weren't they? Yeah. Well, we see it on Sky Sports every bloody day, don't we? Aguero! It's like, oh, God.
Yay! Oh, man. That was the greatest moment, that, you know, that we just need a takeover, man. We need a takeover, and that's what we need. You know what I mean? We get a takeover, and hopefully it get approved, because I can see Richard Masters as well going to walk away as CEO. If that goes through, he'll walk away. Good. He should have passed it. He should have passed it in the first place.
Well, it's not just him as well. It's the backroom staff that he's got there as well, isn't it? All the lawyers and everything. They tried their best to stop it. They never rejected it. They just stalled it. It was a stalling tactic to see if the guys would walk away, so they didn't have to make a decision. And that's why the arbitration's happening now. It's you know, finding out why it was taking so long to actually make a decision. So let's pray it goes through. Like I say, I'm on the fence. I'm not going to be one of these guys that's going to go on Twitter and hammer people who say it's going to go through. I'm not going to hammer the people who say it's not going to go through. What I would say to all Newcastle fans is just let it bubble in the background. If it happens, it happens. let's do what we need to do to get Bruce out to start with to stay in the Premier League. Because if we don't stay in the Premier League, there is no takeover. We can argue and fight about it on Twitter as much as we want. If we go down, it's not happening.
Totally agree with you. I really totally 100%. For me, I think it's going to happen. It will happen if we stay up. It will happen. It will stay up because we're going to, again, they're going to win the day because they cannot, you cannot stop a business like this. You know, you can't stop a transaction. You cannot. They want to buy it. They want to sell. Let them carry on. That's what it's all about. And to me, it's going to happen because we want the club. And
yeah, I mean, I'm not a lawyer or proclaim to be or know things about in the background of that, but I don't understand how Mike Ashley bought Newcastle United. He owns the football club. Why the Premier League have to say yes or no to him selling his asset? It's his. Why is somebody else saying that he can't? I know they were putting things in place to make sure bad owners didn't come back in and stuff like that, and all the things were good for the club. But look at us now, since the takeover hasn't happened. We're a shadow of our former selves. And everyone's arguing, everyone wants it done. It's a sad situation, isn't it?
It's a very sad situation. It really is. And you know what it is? I mean, like I said, it's got to happen. It's got to go through and then it'll go to court and go on, put your neck out, mate. If it's going to happen, yes or no, put your neck out.
If we stay up, yes. So it's a big if.
So, I know you got to get yourself away in a minute. You got to put your bed in the bed. You know, for 50,
he's in bed now. I just had to give him his milk. That was all.
No, that's fine. Because I've got to wrap it up in a minute anyway, sort of thing. You know, and you know, it's on funny. If I got one here, if they need to go down, they could do a post-mouth as they got no proof of funds. Did you hear that? No proof of funds. They got taken over. Right? They got no proof of funds. So why they allow?
That's scary. Yeah, that's scary. I think Burnley will stay up. They're that kind of team that can grind out results.
They would never go down. They never go down under Sean Dyche. There's no way. He will not allow that to happen. No way. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, they love him. Burnley fans loves him. The players loves him. They go through brick walls for him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They got leaders in that team as well. They're not that attractive to watch, but I tell you something. Look at what they've done to Arsenal. Look what they've done to Liverpool the other night, last night. They had a go. Then again, Nick Pope was outstanding, apparently. But they had a go. We don't have to go at these teams. We don't.
No, we don't for dear life.
We deserve to go down, I'm telling you, because the structure of the club is an absolute joke. I'm sorry. It's just a disgrace. But I don't know what to say, Baz. I really don't know what to say because for me, I don't feel confident anymore going to these games. I'm not. I'm
the same. I've got to the point where I end up turning this off because I just can't watch it. You know what I mean? It's a sad time to do that. For 30 years, I've been following my beloved club, and the Liverpool game turned it off because I was bored of watching us just getting battered. I turned the Arsenal game off after 70 minutes because I was just like, well, what's the point? You know, there's another great stat here. Most first halves without a single goal or a single shot on target. Newcastle 6 times this season. Not had a single shot in 45 minutes. And we're the first club to ever have their first shot on target in the 96th minute of a football match. And we got a point in that game.
Unbelievable. We are breaking on one to records, aren't we? And
we are.
Again, actually doesn't care. Get this guy out tomorrow if we get beat. That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
Get him out. Because at the end of the day, he should have gone at the end of the season. I've said that. Otherwise, he's going to take us down. And at the minute, it's gone one way and it ain't up. No way. And you know what I mean? But loads of us turns it off. I mean, it's no stuff. I mean, no, well done, Jay. Listen, how many times have you been go behind to come back to win games this season?
This season, never.
0.
Yeah.
0.
How many times have we come back to get a point? Wolves got a point in when Murphy scored a free kick. It's very, very rare we come back and even get a point in football these days.
Exactly. We just haven't got no fight, got no desire, got no passion, we got no work rate, we got no get go. There's naught, absolutely naught. And
I agree.
problem. This is the problem, man. Something's going to have to happen, sort of thing, But got one from Liam. It's exactly why we want the fans to return so I can watch lower league football again. We spoke about it earlier on, Liam. I mean, Baz made a great point. He said that there should be an empty stadium. Once fans are allowed back in the stadiums, ours should be remaining empty. But if you want to go back in and support the team, that's okay, cool. You do that. We cannot stop you. Do you know what I mean? That's your choice. But you're back in Ashley. Do you know what I mean? The atmosphere is already great. You're going to end up getting someone like 25, 30,000. He's given away 10,000 season tickets, right? And then I got a feeling they're going to do exactly the same thing again. So they are losing younger generation that to support us. And if you lose the younger generation to support us, you got a problem because younger fans want to see their local team.
Yeah.
They don't want to support a dead team because at the minute we're a dead team. Sorry,
the thing is, as well, for like I say, being a dad for the first time, the first thing I want to do is take my son to St James's Park, and at the moment, I don't want to do that. And I think there's a lot of other dads out there now who kids are getting to. I've got a lot of friends who kids are a lot older, between 6, 7. They're like, "Oh, I want to take my son to St James's Park." I'm like, "Why? Why do you want to put them through that pain?" And they're like, "Yeah, you're probably right." But that's what it's been passed down from generations to generations. That's what we do. We take our sons to the football game. They fall in love with it. We pass the baton on, and that's going to stop unless Ashley gets rid of the club. And daughters as well, yeah. My partner's just perked up there and said there's a lot of girls go to football, and they're just absolutely right. That's my bad just for saying sons, because I've only got a son. That's why I said son. So, but there's a lot of dads out there who want to take their sons and daughters to football games, and they don't want to do it at the moment, do they?
I don't blame you at all. I mean, you want to take somewhere you're going to enjoy the football. I want to see kids come and say, "Oh, I enjoy that game. I really enjoy that game, man." It might not be a big team, but they give 90 minutes of hard work and passion and flair and fun. There's no fun in this football team. It's not. But I've got Mark and said, "How, John, you're busy on it." Yeah, I'm actually, Mark. It's great to be busy on the chat sort of thing, but I want to keep more and more. I've got plenty of contents to do. I got to do my best squad ever for Newcastle. I should probably do that over the weekend. Have a wee think about that. And Liam, there's a reason why people are choosing to watch leagues in like League 2 or even non-league. I totally agree. And Mark's a bang on zombie club to Ashley goes. What do we say? We're a dead club.
I'll tell you what I did do today. I tweeted war flags. I don't know if you follow them yourself, but they've been to do all the displays and stuff like that. I said to them, look, if people go back to the games, is there any way we can take one flag back into the stadium? Because they took the same stance as me. They're not going back to the game until Ashley's gone. So I tweeted them and said, look, to show support that we want Bruce out, take one flag into the stadium and take that big Rafa flag back in, have that showing before the game, and just to show them that Bruce has never been good enough for us, and that Rafa was the man that we wanted, and Ashley's made a big mistake. I haven't heard back from them yet, but I have tried.
Well, that's a good point. I hope so. I really hope it happens, Baz, because at the end of the day, do that, great. But I'm afraid they're not going to allow it. Ashley will not allow that because he doesn't want to become an idiot.
Just don't tell them, because I know they used to work it out with the stewards, didn't they? All they could say is that we're going to take a flag back into the stadium and we want it to be there for when the game kicks off. They don't have to tell them what flag it is. They just hold it up, and then hopefully they can stay there long enough to send a message.
Send a strong message as well, because we as fans need to have like one big group together. One big group together. Don't go in the stadiums, right? Don't go in. Yeah. Ashley's winning, but because we know we must be idiots to go back into the stadium. But have an empty stadium, like you said earlier, it sends a strong message, and there you go. And you're right, but obviously that happened in one day. But we as fans has got to make a stand this time and say, right, that's enough. No season tickets, no merchandise. Just stay away from the stadium and then we'll see what Ashley does. And I hope that he sees since this, right, you know what? I'm not going to get 350 million if we get relegated. He'll probably have to strip the club. He'll have to strip the club and then make some money back that way. And then hopefully...
He's already doing that, isn't he? He's already asked to strip it enough. He's sold the strawberry side, the car park thing where we could have built on the stadium. He's got rid of it. He's sold it. Everything's been stripped. And how far is he willing to take it? I mean, he tried to sell the naming rights of the ground, didn't he? And that backfired on him.
That backfired spectacularly.
Yeah.
It really did. He must have been peed off of that.
Yeah.
He must have. He just doesn't get. He doesn't listen to the people. He doesn't care. He doesn't like Newcastle fans. He just wants out. If he wants out, then the Premier League, if you're watching this, please just make his wish. Just give him his wish. Let him sell the club because we want to be better. Do you know what I mean? So, and I've got Liam here. We won't do a proper boycott like Blackpool fans under Oyston.
It's such a shame that we don't. I mean, we all say we're the greatest fans in the world, but we bicker on Twitter a lot. We all have different ideas of how things are going to happen, but we need, the guys, the Nufc, the NUC Nufc. I'm a member of that. That paid for the lifelong membership. I want them to conduct something to get all fans on board. Either we go on the ground and we throw cabbages, we throw tennis balls like Charlton did. We don't go on the ground, but we've all got to have one goal, one idea, and we've got to follow that idea. All these other people are saying, well, let's do this, let's do that. That doesn't help. We need 52,000 people to make a decision. How are we going to get rid of Bruce? How are we going to get rid of Ashley? And if we can all get together, that'll be the voice that'll push Ashley out of the ground. It will push him out of our club. I just don't see it happening.
Nah. Trouble is, though, we just don't back it up. We all talk as fans. We just don't back it up. And that is
10,000 of us have. 10,000 of us have walked away and not renewed season tickets, and it forced them to give away free ones. So if anything was an indication that we can't get to Ashley, that was it. He wouldn't give away 10,000 tickets if he didn't have to. He knew he had to fill that ground. So that to me is the big green light to us to say, right, let's do it on a bigger scale. Just boycott a match, go to the pub, watch it there. I know everyone, I miss St James's Park, I really do. I mean, I used to travel from York. You obviously travel a lot further than me, but I travel from York backwards and forwards for games, and I miss doing it. But I'm doing it for the right reasons because I want that man out of our club.
Absolutely. And you don't want to spend any money into our club as well and then they get lost. And it's about time. And I just hope more 10,000 people, make it 20,000 people don't need season tickets. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say. And it's tough. It's a hard, and also you got the pandemic as well. It's hitting Ashley in the pocket. And it's coming making an excuse to say, no, we haven't got the money because you can't sign any players because of the pandemic. So they can make all the excuses they want. If you don't care about us and you don't want to improve the team, why should we care? As fans,
it's a hard sell to fans though, because I mean I've spoke to a lot of fans on Twitter, and they say it's their ritual on a Saturday to go to the game with their mates and have a pint. And a lot of people see it as a sociable thing, but for me, it's not a sociable thing. It's my church. I go there to watch my team win and support them. I don't go there because my mates go there. I go there because I want to see my team try and win something in my lifetime. I've seen them win the league championship twice, I suppose, but that's not the same as winning the Premier League or winning an FA Cup or even winning a League Cup. We've got to all get together and do something to get rid of them.
Totally agree. I mean,
there's a good one from Liam again.
I want to win a title. I want to be in the Champions League. I want to be qualifying, competing for Europe every single season for that club, for the money European, right? I'm not being funny. I might be greedy, but we ain't going to do that. We're not going to make it. No way. Maybe I'll be a bit high. So, I mean, Liam said, I live in London. Why should I travel from down there to Newcastle? Liam, save your money, son. Stay in London, mate, until you get a takeover. That's what I'll tell you, my friend. You know what I mean?
The only reason why you'd want to travel from London to Newcastle is to have a good night out.
Yeah, good idea, man. If you're going to come to Newcastle, just go find with a bunch of lads sort of thing, bunch of your mates sort of thing. That's why you grew up. Don't go to the stadium if you can help it, man. Just buy tickets.
Exactly.
Hit that chance of hearts, you know what I mean? He has an absolute chance at Ashley. He's gambling again. He doesn't care about us. But like I said earlier, I hope the PIF, PCP have a word and just say, well, look, what's going on there? Sack him now. Yeah. Not buy your club. And then Ashley will try to him and say, are you going to buy the club? Potentially, yes, they will. I don't know what to say, man, but something needs to happen sooner rather than later. Otherwise,
you're right. Right, I mean, if PCP are that serious about buying the club and the takeover is definitely happening, there's no reason why they can't say to Ashley, look, It's going to take you down. We are going to walk away if you go down. You get the man that we want in. Say it's a stroke of genius from yourself. You take all the plaudits. We buy the club if you stay up. If you don't stay up, we'll maybe offer you some compensation for having to make a decision for getting rid of Bruce. But we've got to strike a deal. If they are serious about taking this club over, we've got to strike a deal with Ashley now for either the end of the season. But part of that deal has to be get rid of Bruce, keep the club up, get it in a better position.
And do it now. And do it now. At the end of the day, if Ashley doesn't listen, then and they walk away, that's it. He'll never get 350 million for the club ever again. He won't.
We won't see Premiership football for a lot of years either if it happens.
I totally agree. I'll not be turned up to Newcastle if they go in the Championship. There's absolutely no way. Unless I see the manager that I can trust or I believe in. I cannot back this team. Back the club. Back the process. Trust the process. I'm trusting absolutely no one. I don't trust no process under Bruce. I cannot back what I do not believe in. Sorry. I don't back it.
If we go down even with a new manager and actually still the owner, it will struggle to come back up. I think we'll be in the Championship for a good few years.
Whoever the manager
is. It's a very different scenario now. Very different scenario. Like we said, the first time we went down under him, we had the likes of Barton and Nolan, Gutierrez, they all stayed. We all tried their best to get back up at the first time of action, which they did with Houghton. Houghton was brilliant. And then again, Rafa stayed with a good squad of players. He did get quite a bit of money to spend. Spend it wisely. I mean, he bought Gale, he bought Richie, Championship experience of winning it. Someone who can score goals in that league. If we go down now and Gale's gone, Wilson won't stay. You've got an Andy Carroll, and that's it, and a Joe Linton in the Championship. We won't be coming back up.
Joe Linton away, man. I'm not having in the Championship. There's no way. Him away. Because the fact of the matter is, I'm sorry, but he ain't good enough. He's not been good enough at all whatsoever. And we got to have a skeleton team because you've got 12 players out of contract at the end of the season. Then you got to have ASM away, Darlow away. He just said there, Wilson away. I think it's Wilson away. And
Wilson won't stay if we go down.
Have no one as well. But John Shelby won't walk away. There's 90,000 reasons why he not go away. No way. But I got Liam again. If I'm going to travel outside of London, it would be Leighton Orient. And
Leighton Orient got a good night scene.
Yeah. It probably social. It's gonna have to be social distancing though, but I doubt it. You can't have a night out now in a minute. So, and Steve said, I've already just like two of our managers, Kunir and Bruce. Good evening to you, Steve. I hope you're well. Liam again. Yeah, John Cobb's on that list as well. You know, definitely the best manager in the world. Mind, nah, he's deluded as well. The Championship was much weaker league where we got promoted. Whereas West Brom and Blackpool is a stronger Championship now. And the rest,
Steve Spawn.
He is Spawn. He's correct. And the rest has some redeeming qualities. Even Carver, Pardew, McFall.
See, Pardew for me, I mean, I'd have him back now in a way. He's much better than what Bruce is. And he did get a bit. For me, Pardew failed because Ashley failed Pardew again. They sold Cabai, didn't replace him. We're missing that midfielder again, aren't we? I'd have Cabai back now at 35. He'll still pick a pass. You know,
I think it embarrassed Shelby. It still embarrassed Shelby. No question about that.
Yeah, Cabai was one of my favourite players back in that era. I mean, Cisse went off the boil because Cabai wasn't there. Cisse was born offside when Cabai wasn't there because Cabai had the vision to be able to see what Cisse was doing and find him early enough to keep him on side. And then as soon as he went, Cisse went off the boil, and then again we struggled.
Totally agree. You're right. And actually just owned a £20 million, never replaced him. Him. Pardew bored off to Palace, and that's one of the reasons why he had enough. And that's the thing. And Ashley was on holiday at Barbados that year when Pardew had his last game against Everton, right? Yeah. And Ashley did not make any attempt to keep him. He wanted that £4 million
because he got compensation, yeah.
That's what it was. He just did not care. Didn't care at all. But then again, at the time when Pardew left for Palace, it was his local club, and I think, you know what? He wants to go to Palace, let him go to Palace. And then we had Carver, nearly took a stone. I'm telling you. But like I said, we are a zombie club, and I have to say that. Steve Wilson, I hope you're okay, Steve. Cabby was class. And he was class. Boy, was he class. He said he had the vision and the passing range ability, and that's what we got. We ain't got that anymore. Not at Newcastle. Not at Newcastle. But
I'll always remember the free kick he scored against Man United at St James's Park. That was beautiful. Off the
man, that was amazing, that was amazing. Oh my God.
That was a good night.
Man of the match that day. He's man of the match. And Phil Jones got a cracking own goal that day. And Bruce wants Phil Jones, and nah, not for me. Not for me. Sorry, I'd rather have Tom Jones in all fairness.
Yeah.
So, and I was going to say, just a couple more questions before I'm going to wrap this up, man, because obviously you got to look up. You know, first off, Graham Jones. He's been linked with us as a coach from Bournemouth, and I don't know what to say about this one, man. He ain't any better than the ones we've got. Do you know what I mean? He failed at Luton, right? He did okay under Martinez, assistant manager, right? Yeah. And if Bruce gets a sack, is he going to take over Newcastle? I hope not.
I don't think he will. No, I think it opens the way for Eddie Howe to come in as the number one, and he'll be the number two. I think that's what a lot of fans are looking at. They think that's the end game. I personally think he's just finding a cheaper option of getting someone in to have a different view of how we should be playing football, to offer some different ideas to Bruce and hope that things will change. But I just think it's another joke of a move that Ashley thinks it's the cheapest option possible to try and keep us up. That's my thoughts on it.
So we get Eddie Howe in, sort of thing, quick left sort of thing. So he's coming in to be as a number two. Get Bruce out, and then Eddie Howe would take over. I think that could be the plan, you know. Could be the plan.
That's what we're all thinking, but I see the other side of things where actually I think he's just took the cheap option to try and give Bruce some help and some extra ideas and hope that it pulls off to the end of the season, and I don't think it will. But
I'm not being funny, but end of the day, it's cheap option, you're right. And I can see your point you're trying to see it, but you should have sacked Bruce and just get him sacked, get Eddie Howe in, Jones is number two, and I think that'd be a good partnership to take us forward at the days. And finally, what do you think the score's going to be tomorrow?
Well, my head says we're going to get beat probably 2-1, 3-1. My heart says, which it always does, we might scrap a point.
You're right there, but for me, I think you're going to get beat by 3-0. I think Grealish is around the show. Even though McGinn's not going to be playing, Barkley's going to start. If Gassie's been scoring some important goals to the Villa, and Ollie Watkins can run all day, and I think we're going to get run ragged tomorrow, I'm afraid. But that doesn't look good. I think it's going to be 3-0, sadly, and that would be eight losses and 2 draws, and that should be enough for Bruce to be sacked. But we can only hope that's going to happen. But guys, thank you very much indeed, man, because obviously I'm going to let you get back to your family and your kids as well, which is important. And
time.
to make it well. And Steve said, this is why I think people are over optimistic to take over. If Ashley thought 100 million plus is at stake, he would throw the kitchen sink to steering up. So
I think he's right. This is what I've been saying, Steve. You are right. If the takeover is going to happen, I would think Bruce would have been sacked by now. I think he's just trying to find the cheapest option to keep us up. See what happens at the end of the season. The takeover might progress then, but it's not going to happen yet. I think Steve's spot on.
I think it's in a way, but I hope it happens, but it's not going to happen just yet. But that's a brilliant way to end that show. And I'm going to give you top marks as well, my friend. I gave you a 10. I'm giving you a 10 as well. And make sure you come back on my show again. And if I'll
definitely.
All sort of thing, where I'll do the press conference reaction, match preview, my live watch along, you're welcome for that at any time. And will it be tomorrow? I know you've got things to do tomorrow. Yeah, so
I'll let you know. I'll be in touch.
Yeah, if you can do it,
see if I can do it.
If you can't, don't bother. There's always another time. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so, but listen. But it's been fantastic chatting to you, and let's hope that our fortunes change. And I'm glad you came on. And listen, have a good evening. And thanks so much for joining us, my friend.
Yeah, cheers, John. It's been a good laugh. It's nice to talk about Newcastle because, like I say, where I work, there's no Newcastle fans. It's just me. So it's nice to have a chat. Have a good night.
You too, boss. You catch this cat. Take care. You too.
Away the lads.
Away the lads.
Away the lads. See you, pal.
Okay, that was Baz, the Newcastle fan. It's been fantastic chatting to him as well. He wanted to come on, and I gave him the opportunity to come on me chat, and he was absolutely amazing. And if you love my channel, could you please sub and smash the likes up and subscribe to my channel as well. I'd like to say thanks for the comments I've received. I need to seem absolutely amazing. I've got 257, 58 subs as well. Please keep them coming because I would hit 1,000 in the future, and so I could do some super chats. So thanks very much, you guys. I'm going to do a watch along tomorrow, and I'm going to do a match preview as well. So have a good evening, guys, and until then, I'm out of here. Take it steady, lads. Ta-ra.